Welcome back to Cryptic Corner, a place where we take a deep dive into the mysteries of the internet and the occasional movie review. I am your host, Travis, and on the side of me today are my beautiful co-hosts, Harry.
What's poppin', guys?
And Jared.
Hi.
Okay.
That's my favorite. I like his better than mine, honestly.
And today on the podcast, we're going to be reviewing the movie Annihilation. It came out in 2018 and was directed by Alex Garland. The movie grossed. The movie budget was 40 through 55 million. It doesn't really say how much they grossed. I'll find that. You guys want to do like ratings? You guys want to give your ratings before while I search this up?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So, for the audience here, I like to do these. I watched the movie like a couple times over the past couple of years since 2018, and I did not rewatch it for this episode. Whereas Jared and Travis, it's a habit. They had both watched it recently where Jared watched it today. He finished it just before we started this episode, so he's fresh as hell.
I didn't quite finish it. Finish it.
You have seen it before, so you just had a really good refresher before.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I watched the movie when it first came out back in theaters, actually, and I had front row seats. So I think this is a better viewing experience because when I first watched it, I was like this.
Yeah, what kind of psychopath chooses row number 1 at a movie theater?
Me.
That's the thing.
I choose row number 1.
You don't choose. You're forced to.
What do you mean?
The movie theater was packed. Literally, that was the only place we could sit.
Oh, I would rather just go a different day.
Yeah, well,
if I see there's that many people there, I'm going a different day. Either way,
I still very much enjoyed the movie.
I rate this of like scary movie like things that we've seen before. This has to be like a 7.5 out of 10 for me. The movie just has cool ass undertones. It's like a little bit slow, but they know how to keep you on the edge. Like you feel like something's gonna happen all the time. And when you really expect something to happen, generally something does happen.
So you indeed did find this movie scary.
It was on the edge scary. I don't think it ever jump scared me and actually like scared me, but I consider this a scary movie.
Okay, I'm kind of the opposite, but Jared, did you give your number rating?
A freaky movie?
Out of 10?
No, I didn't. I'm gonna give the movie an 8 out of 10. Honestly, like, maybe it's because of my second time watching it, but the movie wasn't super scary since I already watched it. But I remember when I first watched it, some scenes made me very uncomfortable. We'll talk about them later, but 2 scenes in particular, for whatever reason, made me very uncomfortable when I watched it.
I know what you're talking about.
Exactly, you guys already know. And I really like the pace of the movie. The movie, like Harry said, the movie's pacing, even though it feels like it kind of slow at first, I say slow, but the movie paces itself very well. It doesn't feel long. When I watched it, it was like, it did feel as long as it was when I was watching it, and I feel like the characterization is good, and the movie sets up a lot of interesting questions and like gives you a good hook.
Okay.
That's okay. I was gonna say the movie isn't that long, but it is 2 hours.
Yeah, doesn't
they
feel
use
like
all that time effectively. Yeah, it feels
exactly.
good.
For me, real quick, I did find the box office gross numbers. For domestic box office, they grossed $32,732,301. Worldwide was $43,070,915, and for domestic DVD sales was $527,150.
Their
in my opinion,
was $40 to $55 million. I don't have a really big, like an exact number, but they way more than made up for what they spent on the movie.
Which I'm glad.
It was 40 to 55.
That's
Uh,
what I just said.
they didn't really make that back.
What do you mean?
Oh wait, never mind. No, sorry.
You said hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, my
yeah,
bad.
I was
my
like,
bad.
what the hell? What kind of comedy
My
is this?
my brain shat itself for a second. If I were to give this movie a rating, I wouldn't really call it a horror movie, more like a suspense, like thrill.
I agree
movie.
wholeheartedly.
Even though it says it's a sci-fi horror, I mean, it wasn't really scary. Did they do well with the atmosphere building? Yeah, they kept me on my seat. They kept me in my seat. I was expecting more of like jump scare, because that's like where my brain goes to when I think of horror, is spooky, go boom, But
Yeah, I guess.
I give it a 7.5 out of 10. It was a good movie. I think my favorite part is like right behind me. Did the movie disturb me at times? Yeah, 100%. I was like, ooh, this is kind of gross.
If it doesn't disturb you, you may be a psychopath.
Watch too much Live League.
There will be a scene in this movie that adheres to some sort of phobia.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's start breaking down this thing. So the movie, the
Break it down
movie
for you,
stars Natalie, what is it?
Natalie
Oh,
Portman.
there's two. Oh no, there's two people.
People?
There's two people who play Lena Double, which is the main character. Her name is Lena Double. She's the widow of
Probably a stunt double.
I was say I feel like that'd be a stunt double, wouldn't it?
I think they'd label them stunt doubles. Yeah, because I don't see.
If that's
I'm
for,
looking
like,
at the
full
cast
name, that's
list
kinda,
right
like,
now.
on the nose.
So
I'm
there's
looking
two
at the
people
cast list
who
too, and I do not see two.
I can send you a
Oh wait, no,
screenshot of the
Kristen
cast.
Kristen McGarry.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there's
She
two
may have
people
played
that
a
play
younger
Lena.
version. Oh.
Maybe she might have. Yeah.
No. She played as, spoiler alert, the alien.
Oh,
the
the
end.
ending.
That was two
Ah.
people. So she played as her double alien person.
okay.
Yeah, so the movie stars Natalie Portman as Lena Double. She is the widow of ex-Sergeant Kane, who was in the military. He in the movie, he went missing for like a year. They thought he was killed in action. Plot twist, I don't think he was. Actually,
No,
No.
he was.
No,
Actually,
he was.
no.
You remember
no,
the
No,
body
he
they
was.
found in the
Let's talk about that
lighthouse?
later. Let's talk about that
Yeah.
later.
Dude, I'm
um,
gonna spit some
we're-
facts about this movie, even though I haven't seen it in over a year.
We're jumping ahead of ourselves here.
she,
Guys is half right.
No, I am right. He did die in action.
Depends on how you look at it.
Killed himself.
Yeah, he died in there. He died in the action.
I don't know. Who was the cameraman?
It was
What?
him. He set
Yeah,
the
it was
video
him.
to record.
Yeah, exactly.
He eventually does come back, and she freaks out, and then he starts fucking organ failing everything, dude. Like,
Yeah, he
man
starts
was
spit out
legit.
blood and seizing.
Yeah, he was seeping blood from his eyes, and they were
He
transported.
caught terminal ligma.
Yeah, the ligma disease, dude.
Yeah, that's about.
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll go with that.
Yeah. They didn't
problem
really
with
introduce any of the other characters that well. I felt no connection
No,
to the other
they-
characters at all.
They were mostly just boss bitches, and that was kind of the whole point.
I thought they were
Not
just
to,
like
discount they
target
the
dummies,
characters were
dude.
good. The characters weren't bad, I should say, but they didn't introduce them very well. They were just, in
Yeah.
my opinion, supposed to be just badass military women, and that was it.
they did
The
like
thing is, they weren't.
And Natalie
military
Portman
women,
wasn't
but
even
they should-
military. I think the other women were military, but Natalie Portman
No,
was not.
no, she was
No,
military.
she was. Actually, she was the only person who was military there.
She was the only person she was in the army.
Yeah.
where am I getting this wrong? Because I felt like she was
That's
some
where
sort of
she met
scientist.
Kane, was in the military.
Yeah, exactly. She
Look at me remembering the movie.
better than air. Yeah.
Usually I'm
then
shit
she
at
became
these.
a biologist. Yeah, then she became a biologist.
She studied in cells and shit. Cell reproduction.
That's what I'm saying. She was the biologist of the group.
She was a scientist and a military.
But she's also ex-military, which is why she was able to blow the fucking shit out of the alligator.
That's I was gonna say that her combat in the movie kind of does show that badassery.
So on the way to the hospital when Kane was fritzing out and shit, they got pulled over by the military and they're taken into custody. And that's when they learn. Yeah, that's when they learn about the shimmer. I'm kind of just jumping ahead because, in my opinion, not a whole lot happened. It was just, why am I talking to a psychiatrist?
It goes by pretty quick.
It was a little bit of
which
background.
is nice.
You can't just jump into
it's set up the movie. Yeah, movie, by the way, the movie does start off as like sort of like sets up as like a retelling, sort of.
Yeah, so it's like she's like recounting the events that happened in what they're calling the shimmer. That's what the whole thing is. That's what that giant wall of shit is. They called it the shimmer.
But you know what is weird? I may bring this up again in the end. I don't think that's her. In the very end, narrating the movie.
No, something's telling me that that's not her.
I'll bring up later.
But that's more to talk about towards like the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later we find out that they're going in like 6 days, and I guess they try to make friends. There's not a whole lot that happens. It's just like,
well, it's like for the movie they do like team building.
Yeah.
Somewhat introduction.
And then we find out, Lena finds why he wants to go in because her husband went in, and she's, hopefully she can find a way to save him. It's personal. Yeah, it's personal. She has a personal connection, and she doesn't tell her teammates about this except for the psychiatrist.
To be honest,
who's also the team leader, Shepard.
To be honest, she really didn't need to say shit to him. Like, that wasn't any of their business. It wasn't like it was going to hurt them in any way, shape, or form. So that's why, like, this movie, rethink of it now, my rating might go lower because there was a lot of things that didn't really need to happen that happened anyways. So there was a couple plot holes that happened in the movie.
I'm curious about your plot holes because I really enjoyed the movie.
We'll get to it.
The movie's pretty tight, but I like to hear it.
We'll get to it. I guess it wouldn't be plot holes. It just there's a scene that doesn't make any sense to me.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Anyways, behind you.
They so they enter, like, 6 days pass. They enter the shimmer, and then was it like an entire day goes by without them even knowing it?
A few days, I think.
So hold on, we didn't even explain what the shimmer is. The shimmer is a bubble. They briefed everybody on the history of what this whole thing is.
I might have missed it because I have no idea what the shimmer is, dude. I just realized all I know is that
I'll explain it.
Well, all I know is that it was mutating and changing things wherever it touched. That's all I know.
Right.
So basically the movie starts off with something like an asteroid hitting a lighthouse, and then the shimmer originating from that, and it's growing, and it's growing bigger and bigger, and it shows no signs of stopping. That's why they're sending people in, and they sent in multiple groups of military people in, and none of them came back except for that one guy,
Kane.
Except for Kane, I'm terrible.
Yeah, Kane, which is her husband.
Yeah, but then again, he's in fucking critical condition.
For people that can't see it or haven't watched the movie, the shimmer, the bubble that it is, looks like if you were to get bubbles from the dollar store or Walmart or whatever and blow it. Yeah, it looks like oil slicky around. You can see the waves. It's very pretty. That's something I want to say about this movie. It's gorgeous.
Oh, the cinematography in this movie and, like, the CGI, like, the VFX and shit was fucking amazing.
The set design's really nice.
What's the game that the zombie game that they turned into a show recently? The
Walking Dead?
The Last of Us?
The Last of Us. It's got
The
Last of Us vibes when it comes to
Yeah.
placement, set, vibe.
Actually, it kind of feels like Death Stranding in a way. It's
that
like
makes
I never
sense
played
too.
that,
I played
thinking
Death
of
Stranding.
another-
It's a beautiful fucking game.
Yeah, I can get behind that. This movie is just visually very gorgeous.
You can't record it for YouTube though. It sucks. Their soundtrack they use for Death Stranding is copyrighted,
Copyright,
like,
oh my
to the
God.
ass. Yeah.
Whatever.
wow.
So yeah, that's a bit of the backstory. Anything that goes in there gets genetically mutated in multiple ways. Like if
It
you're
doesn't seem
watching
like-
our podcast visually, there's the people. There's like flower bushes that are in the shape of people, and it's very cool
Yeah.
because you learn that they are people in the movie.
Oh yeah, you kind of just like get that from like the moment you see it. It's like, oh wow, the Shimmer just turned these people into plants. And like
Yeah.
if you
I'll
walk
also say
into it,
that.
So hold on. They didn't used to be people. I say they are people because they have human DNA. The human DNA
How about
is what shapes you the way that you are. It tells your structure to be shaped this way. So
Is a
by having
plant
human
mimicking a
DNA
human?
inside these plants, the DNA is telling the plant it needs to be shaped this way. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
another small detail I might have missed while watching the movie, because I did watch this at work. So
okay?
I'm surprised I'm
Uh,
remembering this much, to be honest.
Yeah. Another nice thing I like about the
Interesting.
movie, it does a lot. What I noticed, it does like a lot of nods towards cancer and also like cell division.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's very
Not-
biology based
not very subtle
sci-fi.
about it. Yeah, you know, I remember after watching it, it was back in high school. I think me and my teacher talked about the whole one cell theory. You know, because it movie brings that up as well. You know, it's like,
they
okay,
bring
if
up a
every
lot
cell
of
comes from a
topics.
cell, if it, you know, every cell
Mhm.
comes from a cell, another cell, where does that one cell come from? You know,
It's I may change my rating talking about this movie again and seeing it through your guys' eyes. I think I'm gonna go
Yeah.
up by the end of this podcast.
I think it's a very interesting
Fair.
movie. Anyways, they go in the Shimmer, and you know, because you know they walk through the barrier of the Shimmer. And they go in,
Yeah.
and it cuts to a camera of where, you know, Lena's waking up, and they find out they're like all. It's almost like they all have like a hungover. You know, they don't know what happened over the last couple days, but they know they've been there for a
Right.
while because they're food rations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
a part that
it's sorry, go ahead.
I'm about to say, a part that I find that I really like is that they immediately like start trying to work with their comms equipment and stuff and like try to orient themselves. It kind of explains away like how they can get lost easily. Cause like, oh, you know, the radio's, you know, jammed, and then oh, the compass is like, you know, super squirrely, like it's broken.
Wigging out.
And even
yeah.
then, they find a way to navigate because it's like, oh, you know, using the sun, which I find is really cool.
I
Yeah, the
wish
sun doesn't scatter through the bubble.
I like movies when like the characters are kind of smart.
I wished they would have played more with the you know, losing track of time. You know, because I was like, oh, this could be like a really cool thing where like the characters just kind of black out and they're like kind of on autopilot, and they wake up and they're like, what happened? How did we get here? That type of stuff.
But I feel like then we would have
That'd
missed
be
a lot of
interesting.
stuff. Like I think they did the time skip stuff okay. They made it
Yeah.
clear early on, and then we didn't have to touch it again. But
Yeah, and I think
I did want to say, what did I want to say? They did a good job in like we said, filling the time with what we had. But also I was gonna say it didn't feel like there was much of or any plot convenience.
Well,
it
it was.
Like, it
how
felt
about-
like
I might
it
have
was a natural
misspoken. I might have misspoken when I said plot holes. There's just something that happens later on in the movie that I don't know why it needed to happen.
Right. I guess
It didn't make any sense to me. Because there was no reason. It wasn't like
I could get behind.
it didn't seem like there was any reason, like, because I don't remember them fighting at all. I don't remember there being any group conflict. It seemed they were all pretty structured.
I'll disagree.
I
with
might be
you.
misremembering.
Yeah.
But I remember that one chick. I forgot her name. The girl with the shaved. I'm so bad at names. but the girl with the shaved head
Yeah,
was kind of.
I don't have her names either.
She was like kind of at one point like, hey, I don't fucking like
It's
this.
Josie, Tessa Thompson, I think is my guess.
Are you talking? Okay, so let's get back to breaking down. So they get to the swamp area, and this is when we kind of get the first jump scare. They're just like walking through like a dock, and then all of a sudden something grabs one of the characters and kind of tries and drags him underwater. Let's be real, okay? By the way, the monster's an alligator. Her leg would have been gone.
Well, instead it grabbed her backpack.
Did it grab her backpack? I thought it grabbed her leg.
Yeah,
her backpack.
It grabbed her backpack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying,
so she was able to escape. But this was a massive. It was an albino.
It was fucking huge.
Yeah, it was an albino alligator.
I think it was more mutated instead of albino.
Well, everything in here is mutated. We got to see before they got attacked, or she got attacked by the alligator. There was a pair of deer.
Plants.
There was
that was later on.
They had
that was after
there
the
was
bear.
the deer. Oh, that was maybe
the deer was after the bear.
Was it?
Oh no, it was before the bear. It was before the bear.
I remember this being pretty early.
You're talking about the deer with like the worms on their antlers, right?
I thought that was like
no, it was deer with
twigs.
trees. They were tree branches as antlers, and there's flowers.
Yeah, twigs. Yeah.
Did you watch this on your phone?
I did watch it on my phone. Yeah, I was at work. Where else was I supposed to watch it?
You missed out on so much visual.
Okay, well, I had no other choice. Because we were supposed to do the podcast yesterday, but we all decided to wait.
Okay. But, yeah, that alligator grabs one girl. I'm so bad at names.
Yeah, it grabs her, pulls her around the water, and then, it gets out of the water and tries to attack, but it doesn't really... I was sitting there, I was like, oh, the threat's there, but the threat's not being very threatening. It's just kind of like hissing and growling and trying to run towards people, and then they just, fill it full of lead.
Yeah, they just shoot it up, and then we're good.
Yeah, it was kind of like playing, playing that one game. What was it? Once Human? Is that the game that Dakota's been playing? Where they kind of just went up and hit a target dummy, until later on in the movie, where the AI gets upgraded exponentially.
Well, so I guess I'll say this as for the fauna of this place and actually bad animals, the whole shimmer accentuates everything about that animal. If it the rabbits, the deer, they were naturally pretty docile animals, and in the shimmer they kind of stay that way. They don't get, as far as we can tell at least, we didn't get to fully explore the world, but they don't
notice that.
Aggressive. So the deer, already a beautiful, majestic animal on the planet, gets even more beautiful and majestic. I'm gonna send this picture to Travis to show him. They're just so pretty.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at it after the podcast, and I'll throw it up.
After they kill the alligator, Lena actually goes and inspects it, and is like, "Wow, alligator teeth aren't like that." And that's when we get a real taste of seeing how, the fauna also affect our flora.
They kind of compared it to shark teeth, right?
Yeah, basically, this kind of road like sharks. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
So after that, they continue for a couple more hours, and they get to their first base camp. This was the old facility that they used to use until the shimmer took over it, so it kind of just came overgrown. And this is where we kind of, I guess you can say, this is if there was any type of conflict, this is where it starts. They find a video device saying, for those who follow, watch this. I believe that's what it said.
Yeah, but it's also, they find out this is where the previous team were stationed at. This is where they set up headquarters.
Yeah, I was getting to that. Yeah.
So they're kind of following in the footsteps of the previous team where Natalie Portman's husband was a part of.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
This place was also, I want to say this place, it wasn't just a military base camp. It was a community center. There was a pool.
That's what I noticed, because there's a pool.
Yeah, it was their last research center. So it's That's at least,
Yeah, but it
at least
wasn't
that's what I
originally a research
remember.
center. I
It
think
was
they
like
may have
their
used it as a research center, but it was just a building that was there before they started doing research.
Yeah, I'm assuming
Okay.
it's the thing.
Because why else would you have like a 12-foot pool?
Yeah, it was
Or
a
12
deep-
foot
recreational
deep, I mean.
use,
That's what I'm saying. It was a recreation center.
or it might have just been like I don't know, like an apartment complex or
Scientists
something.
don't just get pools. I don't know. Either way, it was a place for them, for people
Unless
to
they're
be,
like
and then they
working on
repurposed it,
nukes.
researching the shimmer, and then the shimmer took it over.
Yeah,
Then
Yeah.
the boys came in, found it, did their thing. Now the girls found it and are following the
Yep.
boys' footsteps, gathering evidence of what happened to the boys.
Yes, and this is kind of, I guess this is kind of where they start falling apart. I guess so. They find the list of all the people who were there. Some of the names were crossed out, which means that they're dead. They died.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
they're going on they're
Foreshadowing.
going on like shift, like they're guarding, like they're taking
Mhm.
turns guarding. From what
Yeah.
we don't know just yet. We figure that out later. We figure that out pretty soon. But they play the tape, and for those who are squeamish
my favorite scene in the
about
movie.
anything inside the human body,
We're not going to play
For
anything
me-
visually, but for audio,
we're not.
If you guys are
It-
squeamish audio-wise too, then you may want to skip ahead a couple of minutes.
This
So
scene
I
fucking,
was-
it was fun watching this in theaters.
this scene kind of got me fucked up. I was eating top ramen while I was watching it, and I was like, this is kind of fucked. So
man.
it shows Kane patting this one dude. He's going like, oh, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And then he takes the knife
alright.
and he shoves it in his friend, and he starts cutting his
In his
friend open.
stomach.
And he cuts it in a square, and then he peels away the skin like he's opening up a cabinet, and you just see some like if you play Diablo
His
3,
intestines.
if you play the Diablo 3, it's like the bloaters. You know when you kill the bloaters and the eels pop out of them at the end and you have an extra enemy to kill? It reminded me of that. It looked like something was swirling around in his stomach, like moving everything around. It didn't look like intestines. It looked like a snake or like a fish or like an eel.
Worms, yeah.
For people who don't know, yeah, it was like almost like worms, just like moving inside of his stomach, just like looked
In like a
wrapping
circular
around.
motion.
Yeah, like
and this
wrapping
is,
around his stomach.
I do.
And
I
like, there's a
wanna add
part
on
where he
top of
like
that,
puts his
too.
hand around one of them. Ugh.
They
Like one of
found
the
that's the videotape on a recording that they found. When they
Yeah.
were in the pool, this happened inside the empty pool. They found his body before they watched the tape, and he was like,
it was after.
how do I? I'm
Actually.
looking at the photo right now. It may have been.
It was
after.
actually after they.
Either way,
Yeah.
they found him kind of like leaned up against the wall, but fungus was coming out of him and branching into the wall. He was like becoming an art piece, and his head, the top of his head was separated from his jaw as
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
growing out, and it was
His
growing
was
body
almost
was
like-
basically
into the floor.
emaciated.
It was almost like kind of like
It-
I want to say emaciated. It's like almost like how like a tree will like the roots of a tree will like split concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kinda
it
like
was
that.
like that, and that another thing that it's just, even though it's horrifying to watch and look at,
It's like fascinating
gorgeous.
too.
Yeah,
It's-
the colors, it's like an acid trip gone wrong type thing. It's so
Very
pretty.
wrong.
Oh yeah. This is when they
That's
start
what this
like
movie is.
Yeah,
Acid trip gone
like
wrong.
yeah, gory stuff and occasionally like rainbow like puke on walls. That's what I think of it as.
Yeah,
yeah, so they all freak out. I don't really see, like, they get angry at each other, like, oh, that's not what it looks like, it's not that, I'm a biologist, or organs
They're just in-
look like that,
yeah,
or
they're
whatever.
in denial.
It's
and
just-
they're
it's-
getting,
it's-
They're in denial.
getting emotional.
It's bickering,
Yeah.
they're scared. That's pretty much all the conflict I've seen and heard, other than just like, I don't want to be here, I think we should turn back, they're getting scared or whatever, and then we get to them doing the night shift. I don't really know if anything meaningful except for this one piece that's coming up happened.
I'm about to say something meaningful does happening. So during the night shift, Lena and the head research lady. Let me pull up her name quick.
Are you getting to the bear
Dr.
scene? Because that's
Ventress.
what I was mentioning.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna mention that. Lena
Yeah.
and Dr. Ventress are talking, and then they hear something from the other side of the gate, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And then Lena looks through her binoculars, and it's like, "Oh, there's a fucking hole in it." And the others here,
Yeah.
and they're like rushing out to like check out what the hell's going on. And
That's
then
a big,
suddenly,
Bad no.
yeah, and suddenly like Shepard's just fucking like grabbed by like a big lumbering creature, and is just hauled off into the woods.
I would like to say something about this scene. This I really, really liked, because it doesn't show them like as soon as she got yoinked, they don't immediately rush after her. They're sitting there,
They're
standing
stunned.
there. They're sitting there, standing there, listening to her get mauled and ripped apart. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, that reminds me. These are just scientists, like biologists.
Yeah,
like
these
they
are
don't
just
have any.
people.
Yeah, they don't have any like combat. They don't have any combat training. They're just carrying around weapons that they are probably, in like the
Had,
6
like, a week's
days.
training with.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they were probably just like given a crash course on how to use the weapon. They don't
Which
know
does
what
make
they're
sense
doing.
with how they shot
They
the
don't know.
alligator.
Yeah, they don't know what they're
except
in for.
Lena, yeah.
The only person there who really had like real combat experience of anything of the sort would have been Lena, and she was even stunned because they don't know what grabbed
Well,
her.
it happened out of
And
nowhere.
this thing was
Yeah, holy shit.
wicked fast. And I was just sitting there. I was like, oh, this actually feels like something that would happen, because you see in like other movies, their friend gets taken, like, no, bring him back, and they start running after the danger. These guys are just
Yeah, they
like,
start
oh
being brave.
shit. They're just like,
Yeah,
oh
it's
shit,
like,
well, what the fuck
oh.
happened? Where'd they go?
Yeah, it
Nope.
depends on the context. But in this movie, it makes sense because, like I said, they're all scientists, and it fucking
They're
happens,
scientists.
like in an instant.
Yep, it was shock factor for them.
Yeah,
It
was
wasn't
probably
fight
the
or flight.
close-
They were just stunned.
It was probably
And
the
if-
closest we get to a jump scare in the movie.
If I remember, one of the theories that they had were for the military people not coming back was that something either drove them insane or they killed themselves
all got
because they
killed.
went insane. That was like one of
Yeah.
one of
the
their
two
theories.
theories.
They
Well, which
didn't
is
know
part of
there
it.
was. They didn't know that there was any other dangers in there. They just thought it was like a
Well, they had that-
psychological thing.
Well, actually, no, they had the idea that something killed them. Because there's like two things: either something killed them, or they all went crazy and killed each other.
I was expecting kind of like what's the movie called that's coming out? It's like Don't Speak or something, where like you have to be quiet or else a monster's gonna come and like snag your
Quiet
buns.
Place.
A Quiet Place, yeah.
Place.
But
People are
there
saying
was
that movie's
no
pretty bad.
yeah.
Okay, still, if you want us to watch it,
The original's great. I've seen the original. I have not seen the second.
We'll let the comments decide on that one.
Yeah.
We'll
I'm
let the
gonna comment
comments decide.
no.
We'll let the comments
So, yeah.
decide.
he gets dragged off in the woods, and I think it cuts to the next day after that, because
They
go
do-
after it in the middle of the night, right?
No, of course. That's a suicide mission. They do end up finding her though. Lena was like,
Lena
I need to
does.
find her and see if she's alive. She's not. She's turned into like mold with her throat ripped out.
Yeah, her
It was
fucking
actually
neck's
quite
gone.
gruesome. It was
And
a
it
pretty
happens
gruesome
fast.
scene.
Bears are scary,
Um,
man.
What else? What else? What am I missing? Here? Did
they
anything
meet up-
happen in between?
I think that's when.
That's when your scene comes in, right? The grass scene. This is like where we're at right now.
So no, hold on. They
Yeah.
in that building. The last thing that happens inside that building is they start seeing changes in themselves. So their DNA is already being altered, being inside the shimmer.
Yeah.
Okay, that might have also been something I missed because I was at work while watching this movie.
But yeah,
So I might have
they
missed some
eventually-
parts.
They eventually find a place like Harry's background where they just see these like kind of like vines or like growths of like kind of like a vine growth or something like that, or like plants shaped like humans, you know, and they're kind of like weirded out by it. And one of the characters, what is it, Anya? Like, I think she has like epiphany. Is like, wait a minute, like she figures out what the shimmer's doing. It's like, everything and everything, everything is like mixing together and stuff. It's like the radio's not being blocked; it's just being scrambled because just everything's being refracted.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're inside a literal
down
bubble
to the
that
DNA.
just down to DNA. Yep, everything's DNA.
What a cool
Which I find
concept.
really interesting.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, I like this part of the movie, especially
think it's
seeing
very
like the plant shaped people. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the part where I had a problem with though.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So, after that, did anything else happen that I'm not remembering? Because if not, then I kind of want to talk about what I had a problem with.
I think we lose two more team members, or one more team member soon.
Yeah, they go into they find refuge in a house.
Yeah, this is where I started having a problem. Okay, so I guess the day passes, right? They show an up close of I can't remember her name, but they showed an up close of her. She's not looking too good. She's looking like shit. She's looking like she's on fentanyl. And then the next thing you know, we see Lena waking up, and then the chick is standing over her with like the butt of the rifle just at her, and she's like, "You're a fucking liar," and she slams down on Lena. And this is where I started having a problem, right? So she was like, "Oh, you want to tell the truth, or do you want to keep lying to us?" I was like, what is she lying about? She didn't tell you that Sergeant Kane is her husband. Like, for one, it was none of their business. Like, she was just like, because like in reality, she wasn't lying. She did want to see what this was. She wanted to see what happened to Kane, right? Just because Kane's a connection doesn't mean that the hostility should have been there. She blames her for a whole bunch of other stuff as well, and she gets extremely violent. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, this wasn't needed. There was no
she's like,
Travis, hold on. They're in the shimmer. Her DNA is being changed. She is legitimately going psycho. Yeah,
and they said
she doesn't understand what's going on.
Later on in the movie, it's like it feels like an old, like they literally talk about like the characters like I feel like almost like an old man getting demented.
Her chemistry was
it's fucking with it physically
changing.
and mentally. But I am with Travis with this because I wish they foreshadowed it a bit more because it does feel kind of sudden out of nowhere.
It was
a bit more attention.
But me thinking about it after having watched the movie, I understand why it happened.
I understand why it happens, but I wish they had more of a telltale sign.
Yeah,
I think
if they had more of like, if they had more of a sign, it would have made more sense to me.
Exactly.
I guess that makes sense.
I half agree with Travis and I both agree with both.
Because like,
sort of.
I was working while I was watching this, right? I was focused on a machine, and all of a sudden I see this. I'm just like, oh. Like, I didn't really see any banter going on, but I guess I missed some like small, minute details.
There's a little bit of conflict.
On the other hand, you're supposed to be paying attention to the movie and not doing other things.
I'll be devil's advocate. I noticed like mainly like it was just like them are kind of like about like wanting to go home, and that was about it. It wasn't like something personal per se. I noticed.
Yeah, it wasn't like anyone like like one person died. It was like, oh shit, basically a wild animal murdered them. It's no one's fault.
Yeah, and before that, the only thing that literally happened that was sort of conflict was when Lamb wanted to go like find Shepard, and the girl's like, "Let me go with you," and Shepard's like, "No, I'll go alone." That was it.
Yeah, that was basically it. But we're getting to my favorite part of the movie. That's the part I really liked. It's the bears scene.
Yeah.
What's hunting them down? This thing showed no signs of like it following them. The ultimate apex predator is right behind me.
It just shows
Can I
up.
explain it a little bit?
It just showed up.
Can I explain a little bit more?
Explain.
So, anyways, I got her name wrong earlier. Actually, Gina's the one chick. Gina, anyways, is threatening to cut open Lena with a knife, like Kane did to that one guy. And before she does it, she hears Shepard screaming, "Help me!" And obviously, everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
That's weird.
Yeah, like what the
she's
fuck?
Dead.
And it was like, oh, "You fucking lied about this too, you motherfucker!" And fucking books out of the room, to go after Shepard. And then fucking you hear bear, and it just goes quiet. And then you hear the booming, the bear coming. And the bear walks in the room.
Like walks in the room and it starts making the noise of Shepard's her dying words was
the bear screaming, "Help me!"
It was screaming, "Help me!"
Not Lena, of Shepard, yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, it's literally a Skinwalker or a Wendigo. Fucking cool as shit. It was my favorite scene. I was like, so fucking cool.
You don't get to see a lot. You don't get to appreciate a lot of the physicality of the bear in the movie because it's so dark. I watched the behind the scenes on how they made the masks and stuff for the actors that portrayed the bear.
Awesome. Oh, the bear's an actor?
Mask? Holy fuck. Yeah, that's a
I'm about to say, this is a normal...
It's only CG'd on top of the mask, but they use practical almost everything for that thing.
I was gonna say I concur, dude. Harold. I got to see a lot of the bear. At first, I thought it was like a cyborg bear, like they something happened to this. But I was like, oh no, its face is literally rotting off.
I'm about to say, it's not a normal bear.
The thing, it's not only rotting off. It is. You see a lot of the bear's skull.
It has a human face on the side.
Human skull. There's a human skull embedded in the side of it, and I believe that is victims.
Yeah,
it's not just human DNA being injected. It is whoever he ate. He is assimilated. It's almost like consuming, and is using their vocal cords.
Yeah, it's almost like it's consuming their essence.
And I thought this was also like, I didn't understand this, but I guess it's blind. And it uses hearing, or it reacts to your reaction. But they're like, oh, don't react. And I was like, why don't react? Do you know nothing about this creature? Now you suddenly know something about it. It's a little confusing.
I don't know anything about bears, so I don't have any place to say about it. Like I said,
I don't know anything about bears either. But
I don't know if that's actual advice for a bear. I know for black bears just stand down.
That's not a bear. That's a thing at this point.
Smell and sight. If for the most part for predators like that, it's the running. It's the thrill of the chase. If it runs away, it goes and gets you. So if you're somewhat docile, it doesn't have any inclination to get you.
Yeah,
clearly
I know
it
with brown bears, you're supposed to be imposing.
Fighting for hunger.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of the teeth inside the bear's mouth are human. I thought I'd add. They're like molars, which is so cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. I didn't know
it's wicked.
I'll mention it later. I almost forgot about something I wanted to mention. But
go ahead
anyways,
and mention it now.
Okay, I'll mention it. The thing that I noticed about halfway through the movie is that Lena gets a tattoo on her arm that she didn't have before.
Oh no, I've noticed that. I was like, am I tripping? I was like, am I tripping? Because she doesn't have it in the interviews.
No, she has it in the interviews.
Does she have? I don't think she has it in the interviews.
It's a serpent tattoo. It's like you literally see in the interview she has a serpent tattoo.
I thought it was an infinity sign.
Well, it's like infinity sign of Ouroboros. Infinity sign, I think. Do you know what Ouroboros is?
Yeah, I know what Ouroboros is.
Okay, just went quiet.
I was just trying to remember.
They found a dismembered arm in the empty military base. that had that. So one of the boys that went before them had that tattoo on his arm. So when it starts, it's slowly coming in as the movie progresses. It looks like a bruise on her arm because of the ink forming. But
Yeah.
her DNA is mixing with his. Even though a tattoo isn't technically DNA, her physicality is mixing with that arm that they found. They didn't carry it with them. It's got to be airborne, whatever, spores. But it's the Infinity Ouroboros tattoo.
Which I'm wondering if that has any meaning.
What was that?
I'm wondering if that has any meaning, like in the movie.
Yeah.
Well,
it's to
Ouroboros,
represent change.
in mythology,
Well, actually-
Ouroboros
change.
is he's so long
Ouroboros
that
snaking his own tail.
yeah, he eats his own tail because he's so long. He wraps around the world multiple times.
Yeah.
So
and
like
the Infinity
maybe
symbol's forever.
maybe it's
Maybe it's how
symbolizing
regurg-
like an infinite cycle of like consuming and,
But-
and you know.
or
Yep.
regurgitating
It's
itself.
e-
Infinite
it's the
cycle of
cycle,
regurgitation.
Consuming
Yeah,
and
it's what-
recycling whatever its own DNA basically.
It's a
it's the
regurgitation.
food chain is completely different on the inside of this. That's what it is. The energy is
Yeah.
infinitely recycled in new ways
I think
that
that's
we've
the right
never
word.
seen on Earth.
So I guess we can safely assume that everybody dies, right? I'm assuming everyone but 2 people die.
Hey,
Nope, everyone.
Well,
that's a bit.
after the bear
We're not there
scene.
yet. We're not there yet.
Oh, so
We're
during
ahead of
during the bear
ourselves,
scene,
Travis.
one person
Yeah.
dies. Is
So-
what I remember.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. The afterwards,
So
the two, Lena and someone else is talking. I don't know who, but I am assuming she's getting turned into a plant.
Wait!
Yeah.
You guys skipped over a whole
you skipped
fucking
it.
part.
I
of
know.
the bear
That's what I was gonna
scene.
say. That's what I was gonna say.
We
Yeah,
only
you
got
guys skipped over
halfway
someone's
into
death.
there.
Yeah. Anyways,
So
the bear starts kind of like.
the angry woman.
You can explain it.
Okay, the angry woman that had chained everybody up to chairs earlier and beat the shit out of Natalie Portman when she went out to go and find what's her name that the bear was mimicking.
Shepherd.
She supposedly died in that moment. The bear comes in and they're trying to act like nothing's happening, like don't move, don't aggravate the bear. So the bear's sniffing around people's heads and making this fucking noise and it's scaring the shit out of everybody. The woman that we presumed dead comes back in the door limping with her shotgun, and then she's
It's a rifle.
like making noise and she's like, "Come at me, motherfucker!" And the bear turns around, hightails it towards her, and she's just trying to lay into it with bullets.
And it fucking
and
gets on
it
top
gets
of her,
her.
and just fucking rips her jaw off.
We get to see the from the other end of the room perspective of her being just ripped to shreds. She's being thrown around at the bottom of the stairs. She's being ripped apart. The visuals, again, horrifying, but holy shit, whoever put all of that together, you deserve an award.
I know that
So
scene
that's
was
what
awesome.
happens. And then the bear, I guess, fucks off. No, they kill her. One of the other women gets out of the bondage, comes over and drops a bullet into the bear's head a couple times and kills it officially.
Yeah, they fucking unload into it, mag dump into the bear.
and it
just
and it
destroying its
lays on
head.
top of the woman's body. I think we hear an audible crunch of like her whole body just being squished under the bear.
Do we? I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to watch that bear scene again, or just the whole movie after
Yeah,
this
dude.
podcast, just
Bears are
because I want
scary,
to.
man. Have you guys heard? What is it, Grizzly Man?
You ever seen Cocaine Bear?
I've seen Cocaine
No.
Bear.
I'm.
That was
so
a
you guys
fire
know
movie.
Grizzly Man, but Grizzly Man's like it's a weird like urban legend / like a lost media thing where there's a guy called Grizzly Man and like he would camp out with bears and apparently there's like not footage but like audio of him and his fucking girlfriend being eaten alive by bears.
Damn,
Yikes.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah. It's fucking freaky because like they like park rangers like like he was missing and they found his camp and it was fucking trashed and shit, like obviously a bear attacked and they found his fucking camcorder in his tent, and they found out there was like fucking 7 or like something like 7 minutes of like footage.
Yeah, that's fucking awful.
Yeah.
So they killed the bear, and then somehow they were able to sleep. Don't know how they were able to sleep after that.
Again, but
no.
Yeah.
After seeing that fucking thing, dude.
You're going night and night.
They probably were past the point of exhaustion.
About this. Yeah. Well, actually, the one lady, the leader, she like woke up like before even like it was sunrise. And, like, we're going.
Oh yeah, she said she said she was gonna go by herself to the lighthouse. So she went like 2 hours early.
Yeah, and she was like, Trip was like, yeah, it's affecting me.
Like
I want to go
decision.
before I fucking. Yeah, she was straight up like, I need to leave before I fucking. If I need to leave now because I don't know when I go back I'll be the same person. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
And then and then the last two, Lita's talking to the last person basically alive. And she's crazy too. I can't remember what she says, but she then disappears behind a bush and is just gone.
Yeah. Well, she's basically saying like she's given up. Like she's given in.
She accepted her fate, and she became a part of the flora around her.
Yeah.
Like, so in not fighting it, she released her DNA, and she just kind of became the environment.
Yeah.
I wonder what the production was like. I wonder what the production crew was like for that. It was like, oh, is that in the budget? Like, do we have enough money to make her explode? No. We have to save it for the last scene, because the last scene, which we're getting to, is going to be pretty fucking wild.
They dumped a lot of budget into the last scenes.
Yeah, they did, and the ending of the movie confuses me the most.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to rewatch it.
The ending's pretty long, actually. It's very artistic, I think.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to rewatch it, which sucks because I didn't have enough time. So it's gonna be up to you guys.
So I thought their purpose, before we get to the end, because we're pretty close to the end. I thought their purpose was to go in and study and figure out what's happening, right?
I think that, and also go to the origin.
Their goal was to do research on the way, get to the lighthouse, figure out what the fuck happened, and get out.
Yeah.
That was
and they did. They figured out what happened. Didn't really work out though.
Yeah, because I was sitting there because at the end of the movie, because we're getting there. You know what? I'll say my thoughts. So we get to the lighthouse, right? And we see a whole bunch of like crystalline trees and foliage and everything. Like the ocean, the ocean is so far pushed back. It looks like a tsunami is about to happen, like a typhoon is about to like unfold.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah.
Like, because usually when the ocean is so far back like that, it usually means
a sign of tsunami. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was just skeleton fragments everywhere. I'm just like, oh,
I was
shit.
I was curious about that. Like, someone laid that there.
What about the crystal trees?
I said that crystalline foliage and trees.
Okay, I was gonna say they were like full-grown trees, no actual leaves or anything coming off of them. They looked like
they were like crystal or glass palm trees.
Yeah.
And we get to see the lighthouse, and it looks like the lighthouse has like protruding veins, like going all around it, but that's like roots. So something has like rooted itself into the lighthouse and made it kind of like its home or its hole.
Yeah.
And then we go in. And we see a video camera, and in front of the video camera is a charred body. And we eventually find out who that charred body is.
Yeah, right next to the body's a backpack and a rifle.
There's also a hole right next to him.
Yeah, it's just
and we get a whole bunch of we get a flashback of like what happened. Like we see a whole bunch of like images flashing through.
It's not just a flashback. It's a
not a flashback. It's like
watches the video.
How about she watched the video camera?
The tape. It's her husband.
And hey, it's her husband, Kane. Yeah,
it's Sergeant Kane, and he's batshit nuts. And he's like, you ever seen what type of grenade did he have?
He had a,
It's
I
like
think,
a-
white
like a-
phosphorus.
Yeah, he was like, you ever
Yeah,
see a white
phosphorus
phosphorus grenade go off? And he's like, it's pretty cool, man. And he was just sitting there, and he crisscrossed, and he was like, if you see Lena, and he was, I don't know what he told the thing to tell Lena, but he was like, I don't know if I am me or you are me, but you know what? You're gonna be the only one now. And he was like, check this out, and he pulls the pin, he counts down, and he basically just ignites himself, killing himself
Yeah.
with the phosphorus
White
grenade.
phosphorus is
Awful
very
way to
fucking
die.
hot. For all I
It
know, white
sounds
phosphorus is like
awful.
a war crime in some some way of using it, because it's like fucking very fucking hot and like really hard to put out.
Yeah.
Fun fact, white flame is the hottest flame.
See,
Because it's
Cool
every
fun fact,
color.
Joes.
It's shining bright.
The hotter it is, the brighter it is. That's why you're not supposed to look at welding.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you'll
But that's
burn your
not the-
eyeballs.
Yeah, that's
Don't
not
look
the
at
end of it
sun.
though.
Don't
It's
look
not
at
the
sun
end.
either.
No, it's not the end.
No, hell no.
Yeah.
She
Something
starts
very interesting
hearing.
happens.
She. This part weirded
just skipped-
me the fuck
Wait,
out.
wait, you skipped it. I think you skipped it, Travis. The video
No,
didn't
I-
end.
The video recording. What happened?
Bro, fucking
Oh,
dude,
he
Kane
walked in
walks
front
out.
of him.
Yeah, after he got burned
Yeah,
alive.
Kane,
Bro,
but
that's
it
pretty
wasn't.
big.
It was his double.
Was it the same? It wasn't the same being. He was still fucking dead after the grenade on the wall, but
Yeah.
another Kane walks past the camera away.
Yeah.
Which
It was
is
the same Kane who showed up
posed
at the
as
very
her-
beginning.
Yeah, it's
And
it's
this
the
is
guy
where I stopped
that
watching.
we assumed was her husband, and yeah, we go full circle back to the beginning.
Yep. And
So-
that's when it like
so-
clicks. It's like that's not Kane.
Yeah,
That's
you're
not
like,
Kane.
Yeah. And then we start
Yeah.
hearing singing from the hole in the wall. And for some fucking reason, she decides that if I heard singing coming from a hole in the wall, I'd leave.
I'd
I'd
I will
it's
not
not
touch
just
probably-
a hole in the wall. It's
I'd
it's a
pro-
hole down.
Yeah.
It's still
It's like
in the
in the
wall.
corner of the lighthouse. It goes down. It's
Yeah.
it's the meteorite's trajectory coming through the wall of the upper wall of the lighthouse and down into the floor of the lighthouse.
Yeah, it's
as
like
well.
a 45-degree angle.
So it just shot down into the ground, and this is the hole we're looking at. So, for reference, it's the whole wall is about as wide as a shoulder length, but it's tall enough that you can kind of stand in it. You kind of she's like crouching to get in it. So the hole, it's a large hole, but not large enough for a person to stand up in.
Don't go
See,
in, Alice.
For me, I would have just chucked a grenade in the hole.
I would.
I wouldn't wanna-
part with the intestines.
But then you would
Honestly.
never know.
Well, I'm fine with not knowing. Whatever's in the hole can stay in the
That was the
hole.
whole point. That was the whole point of
Maybe-
you being there, is to know. And
Maybe
you're a
that's
scientist.
her. Maybe it was her friend in there who left early. Who knows? I don't remember.
Curiosity.
Oh,
cat.
well, we're
It's,
already getting to that
what-
point. So
what
she
was-
decides to crawl into the hole, and she sees her
Ventress,
friend,
That's her name.
and she's in the center of the room singing. And is she blindfolded? I'm pretty sure she might be blindfolded.
I don't remember. Like I said, it's been like over 5 years.
For some
Well, it's been
reason,
about
she
5
was
years since we watched
blindfolded,
this.
and then she turns around. And she goes, "Oh, Lena, it's inside me. I can feel it." And I'm just like, "Oh no, it's
She's
not
not
another
blindfolded.
men's situation. It's
Wait.
not another men's situation, is it?"
Oh,
And then all of a sudden, like, light just starts coming out of her mouth and shit, and she's like, "Oh," and she eventually fuses with like whatever's
it's
coming
like the
out.
Doctor Who transformation for the turbo nerds like me. When the Doctor transforms and he's regenerating into a new body, that's what it looked like.
I have no idea what you just said.
He just starts emitting light from everywhere.
So he's a
it's energy being
magical
expelled.
girl. So she's a
Yeah,
magical
he's
girl.
he's Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
But yeah. So she eventually turns into this like weird looking plot twist. It's an alien. Like spoiler, it's a fucking alien. Okay.
Yeah, I remember this part where it just starts. You want to continue actually, Travis? Because like I said, I stopped.
It
It's
watching.
like
looked-
a 4-dimensional cube. If it was,
It
made
was
out of
not a
organic
cube.
material.
It was
No,
like
that's the
I
image.
get
It
what you're-
looked
that's what
like
I'm
a
relating it
space
to.
vagina.
Well, okay, I'll explain it better. It's like the motion of a four-dimensional cube of it collapsing
Yeah.
on itself consistently. If
Yeah.
it wasn't a cube, but it was made out of organic matter, just constantly collapsing on itself.
it was
It
very
looks
surreal.
dimensionally weird.
Yeah, it looks like almost like something fourth
Acid trip
dimensional.
style. Yes.
So she gets scared because it takes some of her blood from her face. I don't know how she started bleeding. Like, she started bleeding like right here, like on the side of her eye. And then it started basically using her DNA, and it started like producing her cells and basically making her. She gets
Mimicked
scared.
her.
What?
I remember it mimicked her.
I'm getting
Right?
there. It basically is making her clone.
Yeah.
So she gets scared, she runs out, and then when she gets out of the hole, she sees it standing there. And that's when it starts kind of like mirroring her every movement. And she tried fighting it, but it would, if she hits it in the face, she would get hit in the face. It was mirroring her every move. And then when she tried to, open up the door and leave, it would just like crush her. So what she did was she strategically like maneuvered her way, because it wouldn't let her do anything, right? If you try to go up the stairs, it would stop you from going up the stairs, right? There was basically no way out. It was going to try and like crush you by mimicking you or getting you in a corner. So she strategically moved herself to a bag which conveniently had a phosphorus grenade. So when she went up to the thing that was mimicking her, they kind of like, held hands. They're like, ooh, we're holding hands now.
That's so fucking
And
cute.
as soon as like they made contact, her hand was on the pin. Like, she put the grenade in its hands and her finger was on the pin, and as soon as like they made contact, it started turning into her. So she got scared, pulled the pin, and ran out the door. And
yeah, you can visually see this being is slowly on top of mimicking physical like motions. It's slowly like mimicking her features. It turns into her.
Yeah.
it's really cool.
I like the
Whoever
way that
did
they do
that
it
did a
slowly.
really good job. It was
Yeah,
like
for me- This is like the second scene that stuck out to me, like that I remember. And I thought, for whatever reason, it gave me like a lot of anxiety. I don't know why.
But for some reason,
thought
like
it'd be freaky.
your theory earlier, Jared, about you saying that she wasn't the real Lena, doesn't really make any sense, because as soon as she left, it turned back into its original form, and it was on fire, and it basically like burnt down the entire lighthouse, as well as like the crystalline forest and everything that was mutated. It kind of just burnt up.
Okay. I don't remember that part. Been 5 years. Apologies.
But yeah, and then Harry, do you remember what happened at like after like everything burnt down? It got back to like where she was like recounting like the ending stuff, like the end of her little adventure, little
So-
excursion.
So we don't see her leave in its entirety. I'm also reading some person's like review of the movie, which is really strange. He or she titled the image of her looking at the four-dimensional like object. It's literally titled Natalie Portman encountering an enormous bathtub clog. I just thought that was fucking hilarious.
What?
The whole review that I stumbled upon, it's randombio.com commentary
So it's just
By-
schizophrenic.
by T. Nelson.
schizo post.
This is so strange to read through.
It's just a schizo
But
post.
they say, yeah, we don't actually understand why or what the purpose of this is, other than it's like a biological disease being spread on the earth. So they say, quote from this person, in the last scene we discover that she's actually either a duplicate or a mutant, but we never find out for sure, nor do we discover its purpose. So both Lenas, the alien that became her and her both had that tattoo, but nobody had it in the beginning. So
Yeah.
either way, she is not the same person biologically that she was when she came
Yeah.
in.
No, she
so
was
wait,
probably.
Honestly, I don't know
Either
if
way-
it matters.
So either way, the Lena that went in isn't the Lena that went out.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. It would have been the same person if it was the alien or if it was her biologically different.
That's
And the way
interesting.
we
I
can
didn't
kind of
think
tell
way.
that she was changed is that at the end she was reunited with Kane, and as soon as like they embraced each other at the end, her eyes glue, like they started to glow and shit.
Yes. That same gold light that we got to see when her best friend got Doctor Who'd.
Yes. Anyways, we're coming up onto our hour. Do we have anything else that we want
I
to
changed my review.
You changed your
I
review?
think.
7.5, it's now an 8. I moved this up to an 8. I just like thinking about this movie.
I think this movie is very interesting. I love the world building. I really think the plot's interesting. Like the world building is just phenomenal. I think it really makes you like I want to learn more about this.
Yep.
Visual wise, I give it a 10 out of 10. I like the visuals in this. It was really cool.
Yes.
Plot wise, I can't move my rating. Still 7.5. I wish I knew more. The fight, the argument of where she tied up her friends, I still think if they added more context to it and had a build up like Jared suggested earlier in the podcast, my score would have went up, but it really didn't.
So interesting.
It didn't show
I don't
anything
think
for
it
me to like.
matters. I think it adds to the mystery of the world. Like, we don't have to know
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, I suppose, but
It was supposed to be mysterious. People acted weird. Even in the videos, they acted weird as fuck.
I want to add a thing, Harry, because you mentioned something about like the motives of the alien, right?
Right.
I don't think the alien even really had any motives. We don't even know if it's sentient.
Well, that's
Right,
what
which
else
is
I was
also
going
what
to
this
say.
person-
That's
Like,
also what I was
it-
going.
It
was
could have
an
literally been
alien
existing for the sake
life
of
form.
existing.
I would have
Right,
liked
it was
to.
probably dormant
It was
on
just-
an asteroid before it got into Earth's gravitational pull and just landed here. Its motive was to learn about its surroundings.
I would
just
have
a
liked
grow.
to know. I would
It's
like
like
to
anything
know
else.
like. I'd like to learn more about what it was and what it was doing, other than just outright destroying it.
Honestly, I'm fine
We
with
might
it.
get a second movie. She didn't destroy it. Regardless of if that alien is dead or not, the Shimmer is still around. So there could be another movie showing all of this, what happened.
Is the Shimmer still around? Because I thought they destroyed, like it burnt up, like everything around it was burning, signaling the end of it.
Oh shit, you're right.
I
It
don't
did burn
remember.
up. So
Yeah,
the Shimmer
they
may have
destroyed
just
it.
gone away. But regardless, she is not the same person. That Natalie
No.
Natalie Portman is a biologically different person. So
Yeah.
I think it lives on.
Yeah, we won't know. We'll never know until like unless they make a second
overall,
movie.
I give
motives
the-
were definitely to explore the world around it and learn.
I think
'cause
it's
it didn't know even what it was.
Well, that's the thing. I don't
horror-wise-
even know if it's sentient. I think it just, me personally, I think it was just something that existed and it was just
Oh shit!
doing
you
a
know
biological
what?
function. That's what I think it was. Almost kind of like an amoeba,
It reminds me.
where it just exists to like
Yeah.
create more of itself.
It reminds me more of ChatGPT. It's something that has the ability to learn and change itself to its environment.
It takes
And
in
it's doing
stuff and it
that.
just regurgitates it.
Whether or not it knows what it's doing, it's just flooding information into itself.
Yeah, and it's
I
kind of
think
like a black
it's
box.
like a artificial sentience.
Yeah,
Um,
but not
horror
artificial.
wise, I wouldn't really call this a horror
Biological
movie.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I think
I
this
don't
is
think it
more of
counts
like
as
a
real horror.
no. I don't think it should label itself as a horror movie.
Or
I think it should label
suspense.
itself as like a suspense and thriller.
But very,
Definitely a thriller.
I enjoyed it a lot.
It's not really a horror movie. So,
Yeah.
Still
I'm
fucking
giving the
love
same
it.
rating.
seven
think
seven
it's
point
great.
five out of 10.
Hey, yeah, but hey man, that's
She said
respect.
6.
I wish I could have gotten
I said
more of an
six, no.
explanation. Is what I'm
I
saying.
said 8. I'm fine with being like
Eight.
loose
Okay,
ends.
yeah, so
like
I'm
a
8
few.
too.
I'm fine with being a few loose ends left. And I mean, look what happened when they
At
explained
least,
Alien.
at least give a proper build up to why they're arguing and why they got tied up in the first place.
Yeah.
That's all my gripe is. And then
Yeah.
I wish I could have learned a little more about the alien before they, burnt it down. But other than that, it was a
But
good movie. I enjoyed it.
We had as much information as they had. I really don't feel like we needed more information.
Yeah, but their whole goal was to go in and get more information. I wish we could have, maybe they could have just learned more on the way instead of being like,
We learned
oh,
more about
it's
them than they
mutating.
learned about it.
The thing is, though, we learn more, and that does more world building, but at the same time, it also takes away the mystique and the theorizing.
Yeah, I think it was
So
great
it's
the way it
it's
was.
a double-edged
I didn't
sword.
want any more info. If there's no other movie about this, I would be A-okay with it.
I'm with Harry here.
I want to know more about it because I'm nosy.
Yeah, I like the mystery.
Yeah, I like the mystery too.
Do we want to add anything else, or are we finished?
I think that's all I
I'm
have
good.
to
If
say.
you guys haven't watched the movie, screw you for
I
listening
highly
to this
recommend it.
podcast for like spoiling the whole thing. You need to watch it. This
Yeah, no,
movie,
this
I
is-
highly
this is a
recommend
great
you
movie.
actually watch this
Unlike
movie.
Men, I really recommend this movie.
Yeah.
You should also
When I
watch
say-
Men if you're looking for a bad time.
No, don't watch it. Unlike Paranormal Activity, I recommend this movie. I don't really recommend
movie's great.
Paranormal Activity, just because it's boring and it's a slow burner.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about Paranormal Activity. We're talking about Annihilation 2018.
Yeah.
7.5 out of 10. I think it's pretty good.
8 out
If
of
you guys
10.
don't have any, Harry.
I didn't say anything.
No, we all set our ratings.
Oh, yeah, I already did, like 10 minutes ago.
Just say it
We
again.
said it again.
I changed it from a 7.5 to an 8 after
Okay.
re-talking about this movie.
Okay.
Anyways, is that it, or am I good to do the
That's
outro,
it.
fellas?
That's it, dude. The
No,
fucking
we touched
outro.
everything. Go.
Thank you for tuning in to Cryptic Corner. If you guys have any other suggestions, or you guys want us to review anything like a scary game, scary story, another movie, go ahead, comment down below. If you guys like this episode, go ahead and leave a like, comment, maybe subscribe. Tell us what type of salad you like. It better not be ham salad.
Don't do that.
What?
Okay, never mind. Ham salads. Yeah.
I think that's
wrong with ham
it,
salad?
guys. I think we can.
Yeah, thanks
We're
for
not
listening,
getting
everybody.
on this tangent. Anyways, bye bye. Bye bye.
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 Laters.